happening, guys? We are here. We are live. Happy Friday. You know it's Friday because I'm in a good mood. I'm always in a good mood on a Friday, and I'm in an even better mood because it's possible that Manchester United's first announcement might come today. Big up to everyone locked in, man. Listen, you know what to do. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe on your way in. We're not that far off from 4.7k, which means we ain't too far off from 5k. We got some Elden Ring content later on this evening, episode 2 of Elden Ring here on the channel, so be sure to come through for that. I think it's at 8 o'clock UK time. I can't remember what time I set it for, but I think it is for 8 o'clock UK time. So turn on your post notifications so when we go live, or why do I always say when we go live, like there's more than one person here on the channel when it's only me? When I go live, you will get notified. Big up to everyone listening. Before we get into the football stuff, just let me know who's in the chat. Let me know how you're doing today, what you've been up to on this Friday. You lot looking forward to the weekend. We got the Euros, obviously the final on Sunday. I just realized yesterday, I think it was, that there's no third place game for the Euros. It's only in the World Cup that there's a third place game. So there's none of that tomorrow, but Sunday, obviously the Euros final. So that's going to be fun. Of course, we got content across the weekend. As always, the daily content does not stop. Assalamu alaikum from Poland. Big up to everyone from Poland. Big up to Mike in the chat. Big up to Eugene in the chat as well. Listen, there's a bit to talk about. Obviously, like I said, we're expecting the official announcement in the next 24 hours. Maybe even, we might even get an announcement today about Zirkzee, but the medical has been completed. The contract has been signed. I probably assume that they're occupied right now doing all the media stuff, photo stuff, all of that. He's probably keen to just go on his holiday and go on his break, but his agent has kind of confirmed the deal as well, because he posted a picture on Instagram of the Manchester United emblem. So it kind of confirms that the deal is done. Contract signed, 8 million euro commission to his agent. Guys, why did I decide to be a content creator, and why didn't I just become a football agent? Because the money they make is for 8 million euros just from one player. That is mad. That is mad. I'm in the wrong career path, but 8 million there. Manchester United now in talks for multiple other transfers, including 3 possible centre backs. That is a kind of a saga that is still ongoing, but it's coming out of Turkey, and we're going to talk about it. Coming out straight from Turkey about possibly Manchester United opening talks with Ferdi, Kadioglu and his team to agree some personal terms before they approach the team. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Kobbie Mainoo. We're going to talk about who's the next player coming through the academy this year. We're going to talk about Mason Greenwood. We're going to talk about Johnny Evans, who just signed a new contract. So we got a lot to talk about. Big up to everyone locked in. Like I said, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. If you want to join the members gang, the minions gang, as we like to call it here, you can just click on the link pinned in the chat. It takes you over to the different options that you can join the members gang. You get all these very, very cool emojis. You get to support the growth of the channel, and of course you get custom member content as well. And if you want to support the channel in other ways, if you appreciate and enjoy the content here on the channel, you can support the channel as a full-time content creator by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts. That really, really helps me and helps the channel to grow as well. But we got a lot to talk about in it, so let's get into it. I just need to this is the part that always confuses me. Here we go. We're going to start with this quickly. You know, before we get into the transfer talk, you lot know I always like to start with non-football stuff and just look at the official structure here for Manchester United. Now, this is the official structure under Ineos. It doesn't include the Glazers, but we do know that on the board of directors, there are one or two Glazers that sit on the board. But this is from an Ineos perspective. So from an Ineos perspective, Ineos Sporting Group, we got Sir Jim Ratcliffe, minority owner of Manchester United and the chairman of Ineos Sports Group. We've got Sir Dave Brailsford as the director of sport, and then we've got the sporting chief exec at Ineos, not at Manchester United, at Ineos, Jean-Claude Blanc. So that is the Ineos side of Manchester United, and I'm saying the Ineos side because they, as a minority shareholder in the club, they have a team that sit within the board for Manchester United. So that's the 3 people sitting on the board for Manchester United. And then we look down, and this is more so the day-to-day. These are the people running the day-to-day side of Manchester United. We got Umar Barada, CEO, officially expected to start his role this week. I think it's on Monday. I think it's the 15th of July. He's officially expected to start his role as the CEO of Manchester United Football Club. And then just below that, we've got sporting director Dan Ashworth. So all these three below Umar Barada directly report to him. No one reports to Sir Dave Brailsford. No one reports to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. No one reports to Jean-Claude Blanc, because they are essentially, you have to look at it as Manchester United is here and then Ineos are here. They are two separate groups. However, Ineos obviously run Manchester United as a minority holder. So Dan Ashworth as the sporting director, Jason Wilcox as the technical director, and Christopher Vival as the interim or temporary recruitment director. I think he's called head of global recruitment. That's his official title, on a temporary role. I think he's only there for 12 months. Obviously could become permanent. And we've already done a little deep dive on him, on who he is, what he's known for, what Manchester United, kind of the reason why Manchester United probably brought him in. So all three of these guys will directly report to Umar Barada. Umar Barada will be responsible. And guys, it's not Omar Barada. I know a lot of people say Omar Barada, Umar Barada. It's Umar Barada. But you can say Omar if you can't say Umar. But Umar Barada will be running the day-to-day side of Manchester United. The decisions that are to be made is coming from Umar Barada, which I hope my assumption is, as the CEO, you are responsible for everything that happens at the club and having everybody report into you individually to do that. Now, obviously, Sir Dave Brailsford, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, etc., they might be involved in vetoing stuff such as transfers, etc., or approving transfers when it comes to budgets and all of that kind of stuff. But I would expect that the day-to-day decisions, such as, if a situation like Jadon Sancho and Erik ten Hag ever arises again, I assume that Dan Ashworth and Umar Barada will deal with that. But that is it. That is the management side of Manchester United as a football club. And then we go down to the people sitting in the dugout, the people making, the football pitch decisions, the people deciding on the starting 11, the people going through the training sessions. There's 5 people that will be involved, but I anticipate that it will be a big team effort. Erik ten Hag remains, obviously, as the Manchester United. We have 2 assistant managers, which is interesting because United had 1 and then they had other coaches. But United now have 2 assistant managers in Rene Hack and Ruud van Nistelrooy, both formerly first team managers of other football clubs who have now taken a back seat and decided to take a smaller role at Manchester United for the greater good. I can anticipate this will be a team effort. It will be a 3-man job. I don't think everything will be solely on Erik ten Hag again. I think having people like Ruud van Nistelrooy, Rene Hack, people who have experience coaching and managing first team and developing first team players, I think that they will equally split the weight across the 3 of them. And that's really, really good for me because, I don't know if you don't remember in the past, but, when Jose Mourinho left or when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left, people, and I'm saying people, but the media spoke about the first team coaches and the assistant managers that were basically the problem because they were taking training sessions. And I'm talking about people like Michael Carrick. I'm talking about people like the brother at Ipswich, Kieran McKenna, people who were the assistant coaches at Manchester United that just kind of had to bear the brunt and the criticism of the first team manager, and when people didn't really feel like they were experienced enough for the job. Now, you cannot tell me Rene Hack, you cannot tell me Ruud van Nistelrooy are not experienced enough to be first team assistant managers. They are so qualified for it. They are actually too qualified. They are actually too qualified with their experience. So Van der Gaag was sacked. He had his contract terminated. If you lot missed the stream yesterday, it was officially announced, obviously, with the 2 of these 2 coming through, Rene Hack and Ruud van Nistelrooy, it was officially announced that Benny McCarthy's contract expired, but Mitchell van der Gaag's contract was terminated. That was the exact words used when it was being reported by multiple different journalists, saying that he had his contract terminated, because I anticipate that he, alongside Erik ten Hag, had the same number contract years. I'm sure he had 1 more year on his contract, so they had to find a way. He probably got his payout anyway, and it was reported that he's looking for the next step up, which is essentially being a first team manager. So I'm really excited to see. And then we got Steve McClaren and Darren Fletcher. And guys, this is really, really important, mentioning Steve McClaren and Darren Fletcher. I know a lot of people thinking, why is Darren Fletcher still there? But I think having one person that knows the club very well inside out as a former player and a long-term employee. And then Steve McClaren, who has heaps of experience in the English football and has a ton of respect. To have them on a, I don't want to say on a back burner, but on a less involved role than, you know, what an assistant manager would do. Having them as first team coaches, I think is good. I think Steve McClaren, the experience that he comes with, you don't buy experience like that. You don't buy experience like that. He's well respected, and I think it's important for, you know, someone like Darren Fletcher, and also when I spoke about Ruud van Nistelrooy, having someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy is important because they're two people that know the club very, very well. Obviously, Ruud left to then return, whereas Darren Fletcher's been at the club for a long, long time. And I think his two kids are in the academy. If I'm not wrong, Darren Fletcher's two sons, I think they brought them from Manchester City and brought them to Man United a couple of years ago. So clearly he's got his fingers in a couple pies, you know, in Manchester United Football Club. But that is the structure for Manchester United. McClaren and Fletcher are on pastoral care duties. I think they're there to just, steady the, not steady the ship, but even out the ship. You need to have a bit of both. You need to have a bit of that dog, you know, that woof woof. I don't know why I'm saying woof woof like that is something even to describe someone, but you don't know what I'm saying when I'm talking about people like Ruud van Nistelrooy, Rene Hack, Erik ten Hag. You know, if you lot remember that time we did the breakdown of Inside Carrington, the article from The Athletic, and they were talking about how players felt about Mitchell van der Gaag and how they thought he was a bit scary and he was very emotionless and he was very like heads kind of on grit. There you go. When I'm talking about the woof woof, they got the dog in them, they got grit in them. I think it's good to have a good balance. I think it's good to have a good balance. And you lot might not agree, but I also think it's important to have people that understand the culture of English football and the club. I think it's important, and that's why I'm not completely against the idea of Steve McClaren or Darren Fletcher being there, but also I'd like it to be in a reduced role. I think Darren Fletcher's role now, they're saying it's a first team coach, and I think before he was like a technical director or something. So it's clearly a downgrade. But let's quickly talk about academy, Manchester United's academy. I just put this together quickly, very briefly. I got a video coming out, so be sure to check it out, guys. Manchester United's academy over the last, I think they started like they started a resurgence for the academy over the last couple of years, where Manchester United, they hired Nick Cox, etc., to heavily not only invest in Manchester United's academy, but also to have a clear pathway, a talent ID and a pathway from academy to first team. We've seen Garnacho come through. We've seen Kobbie Mainoo come through the year later. And I really want to know, who do you guys think will be the next player to come through in the academy? Now, I put Harry Amas there, spoken about very, very highly, a great left back for Manchester United's academy. I know Toby Collier just signed a deal with Manchester United and is expected to come through into the first team. I think Manchester United have a lot of talent in the academy, but in the past, and I would say in the last 10 or so years, there haven't been many players that have come through consistently year on, year out. I think obviously we saw people like Makeda, we saw people like obviously Welbeck, we saw people then like Marcus Rashford, before that Januzaj, then obviously we've seen Mason Greenwood, we've seen Scott McTominay come through, we've seen defenders such as Fosu Mensah come through, then eventually leaving Manchester United. We've seen Tyler Blackett come through. There's so many players we've seen come through in the Manchester United academy, and I think because of the last couple of years, I've never felt more confident in the talent ID and the pathway to first team for Manchester United. Melvie Mallard confirmed. I heard that she agreed a 3-year deal. Have Manchester United actually announced it yet? I was speaking to her the other day. She didn't give. Yeah, there you go. They've announced it. Melvie Mallard is a Red. She's permanent. For a 3-year deal, but that's Manchester United women talk. I'll make a video separately about that. But just quickly on the academy to first team, I think Harry Amas and I think Toby Collier will be the two players that come through to the first team this year. Now, which one of these will get the clear-cut chance? I think it could be Harry Amas, just because of the fact that United are falling a bit short in that left-back side. However, Toby Collier, I don't think he'll blow onto the scene like Kobbie Mainoo did, where he'll be immediately part of the first team. Obviously, Kobbie Mainoo, it took about 6 months from when he made his debut No, it took about nine months from when he made his debut to when he consistently was part of the lineup. But that's obviously because he got injured. Because Toby Collier plays in the midfield and United are out there looking to buy a midfielder, I can see his pathway not being as advanced as Kobbie Mainoo's was or Garnacho's was. I think with Harry Amas, I think he's got the lucky end of the stick because United are falling so thin on that left-sided defensive line that it might actually speed up his pathway to the first team. And Mafita here says it here. How many youths has come through during Ten Hag's tenure? You know, I won't give all credit to Erik Ten Hag because it's always been a thing for Manchester United to bring players through the academy. Like, let's not act like Erik Ten Hag was the first of Manchester United managers to bring players through. I've seen Louis van Gaal do it. I've seen Oli do it. I've seen Jose do it to an extent, maybe not as consistently as Erik Ten Hag. I'll agree with that. Maybe not as consistently as Erik Ten Hag. Every year, I think there's a clear identity and pathway for academy players. And this is actually kind of a positive because this will show academy players if you work hard, you will get rewarded. Whereas in the past, it might have been more difficult for academy players to identify exactly what it is they have to do to come to the first team. Whereas now it's very clear. You work hard, keep your head down, stay humble, and you will get your chance. It's very, very clear. We saw how many players in preseason last summer. I anticipate that we'll see quite a few academy players in the preseason this year. But for me, it's Harry Amas. Harry Amas is the guy to look out for. Of course, you see there on the screen, and you see here as well, our very own Kobbie Mainoo. It's reported that Dan Ashworth's priority is to negotiate a new contract for Kobbie Mainoo. The hopes are for talks to accelerate over an extension for Kobbie Mainoo once the player returns from the Euros. And I hope he returns back from the Euros a flipping winner. Like, guys, obviously the Euros is on Sunday, right? And I know a lot of you guys might not be from the UK. A lot of you guys might not be here from England. I only want England to win because the vibes in the country will be immaculate. And also I can flaunt that Kobbie Mainoo won the Euros and the FA Cup within the space of 2 months. I could do that. I want them to win because of Kobbie Mainoo. Even Luke Shaw, I want them to win because there's 2 Man United players. I'm not gonna lie though, I'd be upset if England win the Euros because I feel like there's certain players that should have been there. There's certain players that have given a lot to England that would have deserved a medal. Obviously, I'm getting too ahead of myself. England have not won nothing yet. But Marcus Rashford, Raheem Sterling, Harry Maguire, there's so many players that have given a lot to England that would have deserved it. But obviously with Kobbie Mainoo, I think a new contract is guaranteed. Let's look at what he's currently on right now and the number of years that he has left on his contract. He's currently got 3 years left on his deal. 2027 is when his contract expires. He's on 20k a week. 20k a week. Listen, I'm not here to pocket watch, guys. I'm not here to pocket watch. How much do you think Kobbie Mainoo deserves to get? Bear in mind, when Garnacho got his new deal, he went from like 10k to 50k. Kobbie Mainoo earns more. He's the 5th lowest earner in the club, or the 4th lowest earner in the club. Willie Kambawala is on 7.5k a week. Hannibal is on 15k a week. And then Facundo Pellistri and Kobbie Mainoo are both on 20k a week. Now, when you look at his counterparts, and if I was to look at everybody right now that he earns less than, does he deserve to earn more? 100%. Ahmad is on 28k. Altay Bayindir is on 35k. Tom Heaton is on 45k. I don't know how he's on 45k. Garnacho is on 50k. McTominay is on 60. Johnny Evans was on 60. He's on 65 now, actually, after he confirmed his new deal today. Mason Greenwood 75. Tyrell Malacia 75. Diogo Dalot 85. I think if you're taking into consideration how much he's gonna play, what he's done over the last year, he deserves a good pay rise. But I think it should be within the means of what Manchester United are trying to build when it comes to this new salary strategy that they have for the players. Because a long time is passed since United are offering 300, 250k, etc., etc. But you're looking at people like, I don't know, Scott McTominay, Alejandro Garnacho, players that have come through the academy, have got into the first team consistently. Of course, Scott McTominay has been there for a longer time. But I think 50 to 60k is reasonable. with a 1 year or 2 year top up on his contract. I think the more he plays and the more he develops and the more he becomes a great player, he will continue to rise in the salary bracket. But I'm glad to see that it's a priority for Manchester United and Dan Ashworth to give him a new deal. I think that's very positive. I know that the Euros is probably holding that situation back, but I do remember a couple months ago, I think it was like in March times, where they were talking about giving Kobbie Mainoo a new contract. And like I said, it's well deserved. Now, let's get on to the transfer talk. Let me see what you lot are saying, actually, how much he deserves. Kobbie deserves 200k. He should get 75k. Ridwan says, you keep him grounded. If you give a huge wage now and he's still here in 5 years, he'll ask for 300k. That's true. Michael says 75 is okay. I think that's reasonable. I think 75k is reasonable. But let's visit this. Big up to Crafty Skills says, afternoon, Minna, afternoon. I hope you are doing well. Let's visit this, guys, because I feel like I spoke it into existence. I feel like I spoke it into existence just last week, where I was saying, hear me out, guys, we should look at Federico Chiesa as an option for Manchester United. I actually feel like I spoke this into existence because it's being reported from Italy that Juventus plan to offer Federico Chiesa to Manchester United. Now, whether it's as a swap deal for JADON Sancho or maybe part of a swap deal plus money, or maybe as a separate transfer itself, they are expected to offer him to Manchester United. Of course, he's not planning to stay. He's only 26 years old, guys. He's only 26 years old. And I think if Manchester United lose Mason Greenwood and they lose JADON Sancho, I think they will need maybe one winger. I think that for sure. I think, he can play on the left and the right, which is good. Although he had a very underwhelming Euros, I think Italy had an underwhelming Euros. Now, the Chiesa that I remember when I used to watch Juve and I used to watch Italy in international competitions, I saw Chiesa as a direct player, a player that he's very pacey. If you lot remember the Euros final 4 years ago against England, he's a very quick player. Manchester United could do with that on the wings, can put a ball into the box. Manchester United could do with that. Now, I'm not saying he's a starter because I don't think right now he would be a starter for Manchester United. And I know a lot of people talk about his injury record. So let's bring up his injury record on the screen right now, because I do think the injury record is a bit of, I think it's a cop out. I think it's a cop out because I don't think he's like consistently injured. I don't think he's consistently injured. I think he misses about 15-ish games per season. Let's look at his injury stats. Let's see his injury record. This is his injury record. This is his injury record. Now, if we look at just 23-24, he missed a total of, how much is that? 11. He missed 11 games in all competitions, international and club, for international and club. The season before that, now the thing is with his injuries, the issue that I'm realizing here is that he's like out multiple times during the year. So although it's not a long, like 30 games in a row, it's like little intervals where he's injured and he's out. You see here, he's out for 2 games last season. Then he's out for 4 games. Then he's out for 2 games. Then he's out for 1 game. Then he's out for 1 game. 22-23 season, he's got 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. What else? 12, 14, 18. No, I include 16 games. 16 games, 14 games last season, 16 games the year before that. Of course, then he had an ACL tear, which made him miss a majority of the season. But for me, the idea of Federico Chiesa, I would not be completely against it. I feel like he would be a good option just off the bench. And that's the thing, is like, when I don't want to be in a position next season for Manchester United where Man United look to the bench and there's nothing. Do you guys remember the last 3 or 4 months of the season where the bench was just weak? There was no one to bring on from the bench. There was no talent to bring on from the bench. No game changer, no nothing. I don't want to be in that position again next season. I want to have as much of a variety of options and a variety of profile of players. I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. And the only thing I would think about is obviously salary. I think, you know, whether it's very rare that Italian players want to leave Italy and come to the UK. It doesn't happen regularly. So I get that. But also, I think if Man United are losing two wingers in Mason Greenwood and Jadon Sancho, they have to be replaced somehow. They have to be replaced somehow. Now, I would have taken Musa Diaby from Aston Villa, but it looks like he's heading to Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia, so that's a shame. But I would have taken Musa Diaby as an option. Of course, I think Aston Villa are looking to get some money for him, so it might not fit well for Manchester United. But if Man United want to look away from the price tag that they've set for Jadon Sancho and they think, you know what, we will take 20 million plus a player. We'll take 20 million plus a player. This could work for both Juve and Manchester United. Now, I'm only mentioning this, guys, because I mentioned it obviously a couple weeks, I think it was last week, I mentioned it as a hear me out moment. And then I feel like I just spoke it out to the world. And now there's actual cemented news coming around from journalists saying that Juve are looking at this and they're exploring this as an option. I don't know if Manchester United would be completely against it. I don't know. I don't know. I think with the financial situation for Manchester United, they might just want cash only. They might just only want monetary value transfers. They might not want to take players in a player swap because, you know, if they had to negotiate the deal for Joshua Zirkzee, which we're going to come to in a little bit, and you know they're trying to negotiate Matthias de Ligt and, you know, Lenny Yoro and Jared Branthwaite, it's very clear that money is an issue for Manchester United. So it could be that they might not look at this as a legit kind of opportunity for the team. Now, like I said, when it comes to the transfer window, there's clear gaps that Man United have this season. There's very, very clear gaps that have to be fixed. But once all of that is done this season, this summer, if there is still an option for another transfer, United, I think, will have to buy a winger. They'll have to buy a winger. Not, I won't say like a creative winger, but somebody that is different to what we already have. We know what Ahmad does. We know what Garnacho does. We know what Marcus Rashford does. That is really the three options that Man United have for the wing sides, right? Joshua Zirkzee might come in and maybe can play across that front three. But other than that, Man United don't really have any other wingers. I think Pellistri will not stand a chance under Erik ten Hag because I think Erik ten Hag has identified already that Pellistri is not for him. Mason Greenwood's being sold. Jadon Sancho is being sold. So United will be running. Oh my God, I forgot about Antony. Antony shouldn't even be sniffing near the first team lineup. Antony's actually the only player I think that I would have, at the end of last season, I thought United would sell him. But since the transfer window has started, there's been nothing out there. So either his agent is keeping very quiet and he's not putting any stories out, or genuinely nobody wants it. That's why I think with Antony. And in that case, he might remain at the club. Maybe also Ineos might look at Antony and look at Jadon Sancho and think we can't take two L's in one transfer window, basically, because they spent a lot of Man United spent a lot of money on Jadon Sancho and they spent a lot of money on Antony. So this summer might be the year for them to take one L with a player's transfer fees, and that might have to be Jadon Sancho. But let's talk about more positive stuff, guys. Let's talk about more positive stuff. King of Mark says, Mina, how much is Doué? Rather him or over Chiesa? I would love Desire Doué at Manchester United. However, Fabrizio Romano actually reported like about, I want to say an hour or so ago. Let me find the tweet. This guy's just posting too much during the transfer window. He reported that, so I thought Desire Doué had a price tag of 35 million. But Fabrizio Romano reported that Bayern Munich's first transfer offer was rejected by Rennes, which was a package over 35 million euros. I think in that case, they might be holding out for a bit more, but obviously Bayern Munich are waiting for Xavi Simons, his situation with PSG. But obviously they are clearly scouting the market for more wingers. They first took Elise. They might take Xavi Simons. They might take Desire Doué. I think Rennes might try hold out for like 40 million. I think they might try hold out for 40 million for Desire Doué. But a little update on Joshua Zirkzee. His medical has been completed. Signed on the dotted line for Manchester United. Contract done. Everything is in place. It's just an announcement pending. How do you lot feel about this transfer? Are you guys excited? Because I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I've seen people, and I'm saying people, but rival fans were talking about signing him a month or two ago for their club, and now everybody's saying, like this is a dead transfer. United fans getting excited, la 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 la. I think Joshua Zirkzee will be a great complement to our wing players. I really think so, and that's why I really hope Manchester United invest in assets on the right hand and the left hand side. It's very promising that United don't intend to just use him as a out and out 9. I think in his career he's made it very clear that he doesn't like to play number 9. I was mentioning about his time at Bologna under Thiago Motta, and how Thiago Motta basically said to him, "I'm going to make you a 9.5," which is basically someone who doesn't just be a box striker. I think his link up play will be good. I think his physicality will be good. His height will be good. He's a very tall guy, guys. He's 6'4". Actually, it's not often you see strikers like that for Manchester United coming in with that much potential. I think the package is reasonable. I think I explained it yesterday on stream why Manchester United have opted to not pay the release clause directly, but offer a bit more and pay in installments, because from a PSR perspective, that works much better for the club. Now, financially, Manchester United will be reporting about 12 million across every year for 3 years, rather than if they paid the release clause. If they paid the release clause for him, they would have had to report 35 million straight in this year's financial statements. So from a PSR perspective, this is a positive. Manchester United were able to negotiate and only pay about in GBP they paid a million and a bit more, which is positive. That is a positive negotiation strategy. I don't care if people say United are broke. I think that's smart. I think it's smart. It's like going to you're paying 1 million more, but you're able to spread the cost over 3 years, which from an accounting perspective is very, very smart. And UEFA and FIFA can't ban this. They can't ban stuff like this. Remember what Chelsea were doing when they were amortizing contracts across a certain number of years? And then UEFA put in a rule for like a 5-year limit. UEFA can't do anything about this because this is legitimate football negotiations. There's nothing that you're hiding about it. You're just negotiating with the club and building good relations with the club to say, you know what, we'll pay you over 3 years. But they know, Manchester United know why they need to do that. And that works in their favour. That works in their favour. With Joshua Zirkzee, I think I'm very excited about the kind of player that United are going to get. If we talk about, his strengths. His strengths, number one, strength, no pun intended. His stature, his height, his link-up play. He can play across the front line, which is very good for Manchester United, especially given the fact that we have Marcus Rashford, who does not want to play anywhere outside of the left side of the forward line. We got Rasmus Højlund that's still developing, but needs a challenge. And also, him and Rasmus Højlund are 2 different type of profiles. So if you start Joshua Zirkzee and you bring on Rasmus 70th minute, you're getting a different style off the bench, which is good sometimes, especially if the first style isn't really working. I don't think he's an expensive signing. You look at what we paid for Rasmus Højlund, we paid 72 million. I think this is a much more reasonable signing. And I think, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been very, very clear that United are buying for the future projects that they're building. Not for they're not trying to buy now the current superstar in world football. There's nothing to say that Joshua Zirkzee will not be a good signing 2 years from now. Now, we're going to actually come to it because it's reported that he actually might not be the only striker signing that Manchester United get. But let me see what you lot are saying about him. KD says, this is a great signing, even beyond the fee. When was the last time we signed a future world-class player this young before they blew up? That's true. Fear he gets the Martial treatment for not getting so many goals, but he's a proper player. I agree. Zirkzee will bring out the best of Rashford and Bruno. Tualumba says, I knew Tualumba was going to come through and say this. Those qualities have been said about our previous signings. Look at us now. I think that's harsh. I think that's really harsh to say that that's been said about previous signings and look at them now. I think there hasn't been what is the timeline when it comes to how we assess players, because Rasmus Højlund has been here for a year. We knew what we were getting when we signed a 20-year-old for 70 million that had only didn't even score double-digit goals in the league. We knew what we were getting. We didn't expect to get a Haaland who, before joining Manchester City, was bagging goals for Dortmund left, right, centre. We knew what we were getting with Rasmus Højlund. It's been a year. We can't already then just throw him in the bin and be like, you know what, he's a failure. Same goes for somebody, Mason Mount, for example. I know a lot of people are not feeling the idea of Mason Mount even before United signed him, but he's had a year at the club where he hasn't even played regularly. He's been injured for so long. Do we then say, oh, look at him? No, come on, let's be reasonable. I think let's be reasonable. Is Zirkzee worse in the air than Højlund? I don't think his aerial duels are his strong suit, but I'm hoping that his physicality, sorry, and his height stature will allow him to be better in the air than Rasmus Højlund, because Rasmus Højlund is crap in the air. He's so crap. He's so crap. That's probably one thing I can absolutely say Rasmus Højlund is crap at. He's got a lot of other strong suits, but I do think him being in the air is ass. He's ass in the air. I'm on Ineos watch, and so far it's positive. I've been on Ineos watch for months now. People are saying I was being too harsh. I just said I need to see Ineos get inactive in the summer transfer window. I need to see what they do, and then I can, you know, assess it, and I can comment on what I feel like where United are heading. It's very difficult to comment on Ineos within the first 2 or 3 months when they really didn't do anything for the first couple months, because really and truly this is the first time they can truly get active. When I say get active, I mean they've got everybody in the door. They've made the adjustments in the structural situation for Manchester United. So that is a positive. But also they get the first summer transfer window where they're able to bring in players, which is a positive. Big up to my bro KG. KG, you are a disgrace. Every time I go to your channel, why am I watching Joe Blackman? Why is it every day this week? I swear, for the last 3 days, I load up his stream whilst I'm doing stuff in the background, and all I hear is Joe Blackman. I'm like, what is going on? The channel might as well be rebranded to KG and Joe. That's what it might as well be. But big up to my bro KG, man. Road to 40k, I think, for him as well. Make sure you check him out. Sadiq says, Minna, do you think Zirkzee and Højlund can play together up front? I think they can. I think they can. And the reason why I say I think that they can is because Zirkzee is not a 9. I think from what I've read about him and what I've seen in interviews about him, he can flourish, or he likes to play with a second striker, playing in the second striker role where someone else is in front of him. Now, when you play in that second striker role, I think it allows you to be more fluid and free in your position. You can drift right, you can drift left, you can be within that 10 role, you can occupy that space, you can, you know, occupy the space that will allow runners to get in behind. I think it will be positive. Now, will Manchester United ever go back to playing 2 up top? I don't know. I really I don't know if United will ever revert back to playing 2 up top, personally. But I would like to see it. And I think it's also a good alternative to have, because like I said, it's not just Zirkzee that United are linked to. It's not just Zirkzee. It's reported that United is still keeping an eye on the Ivan Toney situation. And obviously that is hindered a little bit by the Euros. Big up to Idris that says, Jum'ah Mubarak, Mina, Jum'ah Mubarak. I hope you are doing well. What are the Somali streets saying about Amrabat? Is he staying? Nah, I don't think he's staying. Not from what I've heard. Not from what I've heard. But I know he wants to stay in the Prem. I'm hearing that he wants to stay in the Prem. Other clubs are looking at him, but he ain't staying. And the thing is, guys, if he was going to stay, we would have seen him still at United right now. We would have seen him still in and around talks about Manchester United, but we haven't. We haven't really seen anything. Now, just like I mentioned before, Manchester United are reportedly still looking at Ivan Toney. I am looking at a Bugatti. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get it, but I too am looking at a Bugatti. I actually want to get, not a Bugatti, I would get a Lamborghini Urus. So let's say I'm looking at a Lamborghini Urus. But just like that, Man United are also keeping an eye on Ivan Toney's situation. It's apparent that Brentford might be forced to sell him the closer the end of the transfer window gets, because otherwise, if they don't agree terms with him on a new deal, he will leave for free. He will leave for free. United are keeping an eye on him. They favour Ivan Toney over Jonathan David, another striker that United been linked to that has got 1 year left on his contract as well. I think that they will keep they will keep an eye on this over the next couple of weeks. I definitely think that. I've already said it. I think Ivan Toney might fit in a team. I would love Ivan Toney, by the way, at Manchester United. I would love it. But I don't see it happening, because Brentford are going to look for 60 million. Maybe that price might decrease over the next couple of weeks as the season starts and then the transfer window is getting closer to an end. But I think I can see him playing at like somewhere like Tottenham. I can see him fitting into Tottenham style. I can see him working under Ange Postecoglou. I can see him working, playing next to Kulusevski and Son, etc. I know they got Richarlison already with the number 9, but Ivan Toney is an upgrade on anybody's, most people's front line right now. Ivan Toney is an upgrade. So I would love him at Manchester United, but I don't see it happening. I personally don't see it happening. Now, Manchester United are working on 3 deals concurrently. When have we ever seen that, guys? When have we ever actually seen Man United working on multiple deals at once? Now, it's very obvious for me that personally, I'm not buying this thing that United are buying 3 centre-backs. I'm not buying it. I think United are buying 2 centre-backs. And I think the third is just a contingency plan. I think it's in case one fails, we got the other one. And that's why I feel like Matthias de Ligt, out of the 3 of these, obviously Man United were linked to other centre-backs as well, to Debo, Mark Gahey. Crystal Palace might put a big transfer fee, on Mark Gahey's head, just because I think, he's been England's best player. I actually think he's been England's best player in the Euros. And I think out of all the players that United have been linked to, I think it's a fact Matthias de Ligt is going to be that first centre-back. Easily, without a doubt, Matthias de Ligt is going to be that first centre-back. Now, it's between, for me, Jared Branthwaite and Euro. And I'll be so honest, guys. I'm going to be so honest. I think United want Jared Branthwaite. But I think they've been forced to bid for Lenny Euro because Everton are not willing to budge on their price. So the money that they would spend on Jared Branthwaite, I think they've committed that to Lenny Euro for now, until Lenny Euro makes his decision. Now, he's yet to make a decision, hasn't made a decision. Now, it's very obvious that he prefers Real Madrid. It wouldn't be the first time that Manchester United have missed out on a player to Real Madrid. Camavinga, most recently, years back, Rafael Varane. Big up to Adam in the chat. It's been a minute, man. Big up, Adam. I hope you're doing well, bro. And I think because of Everton's reluctancy to negotiate, they've been forced, that their hand has been forced to go and approach Lille and Lenny Euro. And guys, let me put a question to you guys. What would you do if you were Lenny Euro, right? You have the sentimental side of the transfer, where you're doing your club a big favor if you join Manchester United, because 50 million euros is a lot of money for clubs like French teams that don't get a lot of TV revenue. So they don't get a lot of revenue in general. They have to kind of make money through sponsorships and through sales of players. So it's the sentimental part, the academy that you grew up through. You can do a big favor for them and go to Manchester United for, say, 3, 4, 5 years, or the club that you really want to go to as an 18-year-old, where other French players have been, where great French players have been, people like Rafael Varane, etc. You can go there and play with some of the best players in the world right now. There's no guarantee you're going to start immediately, but similar to Arda Güler, there's a pathway for you into the team. Real Madrid, obviously, they've got a few defenders right now. They got Alaba, who's apparently going through a very bad injury problem right now. But they got Alaba. They have Rudiger. They got Militao. They've just sold Nacho. They probably need another defender for numbers, but it's no guarantee that you're going to start. But similar to, like I said, to Arda Güler, you might spend your first year kind of settling in, and then your second or third year, you're implemented into the team. You get to play with Kylian Mbappe. You get to play with Jude Bellingham. You get to play with Vinicius. You get to play with Valverde. You get to play with, I don't know, Courtois, maybe even Alphonso Davies if they sign him. You get to play with some of the best players in the Bernabeu with one of the greatest managers of this time. Or you can write your own story and join Manchester United. What are you lot doing in that situation? Because I genuinely don't know. I can't imagine what's going through his head, because weighing it up, it's like I hear both sides of the story. I really do hear it. Now, Man United, I think, have to accept that if they get Lenny Euro, he's eventually going to leave. He's eventually going to leave. If Real Madrid come back for him in a couple of years' time. It's reported that Real Madrid also want Saliba. apparently they're turning their eyes to Saliba next season, and that's who they're gonna approach. Now, I would go to Man United because, I think right now there is a clear gap in the back line. There is a clear gap. I think Matthias de Ligt coming in, but I don't think Matthias de Ligt is the starter. I actually think he's the rotation. He's the squad option. He's the leadership that they need coming off the bench. I think the starter is between Jared Branthwaite and Lenny Euro to play alongside Lisandro Martinez. I think in other games, You know, like Carabao Cup, FA Cup, etc. We'll see rotation, so you might get to see these lot play together. But I think on a regular basis, if Man United had, you know, say they had Jared Branthwaite, Matthias de Ligt, I think it's Jared Branthwaite playing next to what's it called, Lisandro Martinez. Honestly, that's what I think. This is on crack. De Ligt is starting. I don't think so. I don't think so. But also there has been reports. You know, I read it on Sky Sports as well earlier this week that United targeting 3 centre backs doesn't mean any 3 of them are guaranteed starters. It's apparent that apparently only Lisandro Martinez is the guaranteed starter, and everyone else needs to prove that they can start regularly. Now, I've said this time and time again. There's nothing wrong with having 3 good centre backs or 4 good centre backs in a team. You look at Manchester City. Look how many centre backs they got. But nobody ever says, "Oh, why is John Stones on the bench? Why is Ake on the bench? Why is Akanji on the bench?" Because Pep Guardiola uses them when he feels like it's the right game to use them. That's what happens with Manchester City. Manchester City just brought Matheus Nunes for absolutely no goddamn reason last season, just because he played good. Yeah, they went and spent 50 million on him, and now they're trying to sell him to Saudi. Eric Ten Hag isn't rotating. He will run Martinez and... This shit is so rude. That is so rude. I can't call him that. They will run De Ligt into the ground. Ridwan's saying that Manchester United have posted about JADON Sancho returning. Let's go and have a look at that. Oh, we got it. We got it. Here it is. Here it is. Live in the flesh, guys. Live in the flesh. JADON Sancho, Mason Mount, and Amad Diallo training together at Carrington, which means he did report for training this week. He did. I think he had an extended break, a couple days extension, because he was in the Euros. He was in a European, final with the Champions League. But JADON Sancho is back in training, and he's training with the first team. He's on the pitch. He's on the pitch. I'm not here for the dramas, guys. By the way, I'm not here for the... I don't care about the dramatics. I don't care about all of that stuff. I really don't care. But also, can I just say that clearly this situation will be handled differently now that there's a CEO in place, there's a sporting director in place. It's not going to be the manager versus the player and them two trying to mediate between each other. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be that. Clearly, it's very evident, by the way. Yeah, Minna, you know you love the drama, sis. I do. I do love the drama. Come on. Come on. Who am I to say I don't love drama? I love the drama. But also, I don't want to spend too much time kind of on it on terms of... By the way, Manchester United actually posted saying, "JADON has returned to United training at Carrington as our preseason work continues." And then it's followed by a picture of Anthony. I don't want to fucking see that picture. No disrespect. But JADON Sancho returned for testing on Wednesday following his loan spell at Borussia Dortmund during the second half of the season. The 24-year-old forward also then trained with the group on Thursday. This is his first training session, guys, with the first team. Since when? What? October, I want to say? September, maybe? When did he get demonetized from the group? Why am I saying demonetized? But when did he get dumped from the island? Like, this is Love Island. When it must have been end of September, I think it was. It was that international break around September time after United lost to Arsenal, and then we never saw him in training again. So near enough to nearly, I want to say 9 months. This is his first training session since then. Let's see what other pictures did they put of him. Is there any other pictures of him? Here's a picture of him walking into training. This is a picture of him walking into... By the way, guys, these kits look nice, huh? The training kit looks kind of nice. Look at him again. Rene Hack. Okay. This might mean something. This might mean something. A lot of these pictures, by the way, on the Manchester United website is of JADON Sancho. Look at this. It's like they're trying to show us something. Do you think they're trying to slowly reintegrate him in? They're slowly feeding him to us? Is that what they're trying to do? Or I just realized, or they might just be doing this because they need to sell him. So they're showing teams that he's training. But I'm happy to see. Listen, I never wanted him to see. I never wanted him to be sitting on like sitting in his car during a training session. Like, I never wanted that. I've been happy for him to do that. Here's Ridwan coming through with the updates. Man United confirmed Jadon Sancho has returned to training, held positive discussions with Erik ten Hag this week, will be available for selection moving forward. That's big. That is huge news, guys. That is huge. Did he say sorry? He might have apologized. He might have apologized, and maybe he wants to stay because he's seeing what the club is building. Maybe there was a mediation between him and the rest of and Erik ten Hag. Because and it's right here, Chris Wheeler is also reporting it, Sancho has trained with Man United for the first time. The two, Erik ten Hag and Jadon Sancho, held positive talks and agreed to draw a line under their row. What? Guys, it's the end of it's the end of the drama, I think. It's the end of the drama. Kudos to them. Kudos to them if they've agreed to draw a line under the row. Do you think they've probably both apologized to each other? Sancho will be available to play again, although he will not face Rosenberg on Monday. So he won't be part of the first preseason game. He won't be part of the first preseason game, but I anticipate that a lot of first team players that have just returned to preseason, I don't think they'll be part of it. But this is very good news, guys. Honestly, this is very, very good news. Just going to repeat that one more time. Reportedly, Erik ten Hag and Jadon Sancho have held positive talks and agreed to draw a line under their row. That's coming straight from Chris Wheeler at the Daily Mail. Of course, that is after Manchester United posted updates about training sessions and also updated about Jadon Sancho returning. It's not 100% decided as well. It's not 100% decided if Manchester United want to sell him, and it's also confirmed that he is a first team member again. Wow. I didn't have my Friday content landing like that, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think that was the case. I thought it would be a quiet Friday that we could, casually go through everything. But that caught me off guard. I'm not going to lie. It caught me off guard. No more drama in the men's team. I hope so. I hope that's no more. I hope now we could just head down and just keep it moving. Big up to everyone. We just got over 145 people in here. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. And be sure to subscribe. If you want to join the members gang, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. You get to support the channel as well. If you want to support the channel in other ways, if you're enjoying the content, if you're appreciating the content, you can send in super chats with your comments, with your thoughts, with your questions, and all of that kind of stuff. I'll be live as well later on in about 2.5 hours for some Elden Ring content. So come through. A little update on Casemiro. By the way, guys, sorry, before we get to Casemiro, let's just quickly talk about Jadon Sancho. If Jadon Sancho stays, do you think that opens the pathway for a different winger to be sold? Because United need the money, and they just rejected a bid from an unknown club, undisclosed club. They rejected a bid of £30 million for the guy next to Jadon in this picture, in Amad Diallo. So they don't want to sell Amad Diallo. There's no guarantee Jadon Sancho will be sold. Does that open the path for Antony to be sold? Because someone has to be sold. There's no way United can just rely on the sale of Mason Greenwood. That's not possible. They have to sell someone. So maybe Jadon Sancho has realized that he will be part of the first team if he and Erik ten Hag sort out their beef, and Manchester United will offload Antony. Maybe there's something in that. That's just me making an assumption, guys. Obviously, when there's news around that, we will kind of visit that. But just a little update on Casemiro about his future at the club. Obviously, he's there at preseason right now, reported for preseason, having not joined Brazil for Copa America. I think he's gone. I think the only thing that's stopping him from leaving is agreeing personal terms. I know of 2 clubs in Saudi Arabia interested in him, have been interested in him, have been trying to speak to his camp since March, I think it was, or April. 2 clubs from Saudi Arabia, from the Saudi Pro League. I think it's gonna happen. They will put a bid in for him, But Saudi, as you guys may have realized, I think over the last 2 summer transfer windows, they like to agree personal terms with the player first before they put in a bid, because they want to see if the player is kind of sold on the idea of coming to Saudi. Now, 2 of the clubs that I know that are interested in him is Al Nassr and Al Ittihad. That's 2 of the 4 clubs that are owned by the state. It's gonna happen. I think Manchester United expect him to go, especially if talks with Ugarte and PSG progress. Casemiro will leave. I think it's just a matter of when, not if he leaves. Now, this is a big part of him going to Saudi. I think reunited with Cristiano Ronaldo at Al Nassr, also reuniting with players such as Alex Telles as well, who's at Al Nassr. Al Ittihad like him as well. Obviously, Karim Benzema is there. They're trying to buy Moussa Diaby. They're trying to buy Marquinhos. They're trying to buy Hussam Aouar from Roma. I think that one is actually advanced for Al Ittihad. I think Casemiro will leave, and I think he has to. I think Man United have... And also, the reason why I think United will sell him, guys, is because Sir Jim Ratcliffe spoke about the question mark over the Casemiro transfer. And I know that Ineos knew that was a wrong move. So I think that they now know they might have to offload him. He is one of the players in the team that they can make something off. Might not be 100 million, but it might be at least 30 million. So they can make something off him transfer-wise. It won't be a full kind of recuperation of, everything that they paid for him. But it's money that will come in and help this financial window, especially this summer transfer window for Manchester United. So I think Casemiro will leave. I think Al Nassr is the destination, or Al Ittihad. It's just a matter of keeping an eye on it. Another player that Manchester United are set to open talks with is Ferdi Kadioglu, the left back / left winger / left wing back at Fenerbahce. Valued at 35 to 40 million, Manchester United obviously need a fullback. It's very, very obvious. He was probably the standout player as well in the Euros for Turkey and has a proven track record at club level even before the Euros. So Manchester United are expected to open talks with him directly, and his team and his agency, before they approach the club directly. It won't be an easy transfer, I think, but it's being reported quite heavily in Turkey that this is a deal that Manchester United want to pursue. So Manchester United are pursuing a lot of deals. Currently, right now, they're looking at multiple centre-backs. They're looking at a midfielder, getting the striker deal done, and then they're looking at a left-back as well. So I think there's going to be a bit of news over the next 10 or so days. Check his birth certificate. Yeah, I think he's born in the Netherlands. I think he's born in the Netherlands as well. So that's another person with a Dutch connection that could join Manchester United. It's funny because Matthijs de Ligt, Dutch. Jared Brandtwaite played in the Netherlands. Lenny Yoro is maybe the only player that doesn't have a connection to the Netherlands so far. Ferdi Kadioglu, born in the Netherlands. I think he came through Feyenoord's system, if I'm not wrong. He came through a Dutch system, I want to say. Oh no, he did come through NEC. He came through NEC, and then he went to Fenerbahce. So he did come through the Dutch system, born in Arnhem as well. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well. Young player, fits everything about him, fits the category and the profile of players that Manchester United want to get. And just a little update on Manchester United players. Listen, this situation is dragging out because now Napoli. Okay, guys, let's build a little timeline for this. Mason Greenwood went on loan to Getafe. Okay. Lazio wanted to buy him at first in the beginning of the summer transfer window. Marseille came, swooped in, agreed terms with Manchester United. Now, with the talks stalling between Marseille and Mason Greenwood, Napoli have now entered the race to sign Mason Greenwood. There is an agreement in place, like I said, between Marseille and Manchester United. However, the player has not yet made a decision. So now he's got Marseille, he's got Lazio, and he's got Napoli to decide on. DiMarzio is reporting that by Monday, the player will make a decision. I don't care how long it takes you, bro. Just make a fucking decision. Excuse my language. But just make a decision and let's keep it moving. And last but not least, in terms of all the news for Manchester United today, Johnny Evans signs a 1-year deal. The first player to sign a 1-year deal under Erik ten Hag, an extension, if you want to call it that, or I don't know if it's on new terms. I think it's on new terms. I hope that what I expected last year will be the case where Johnny Evans won't play a lot. He played a lot last season, and when he came in, we anticipated that he wouldn't. So I hope that's the case. I hope Man United are able to get all the players that they want in the centre-back situation, and Johnny Evans is purely there for a number, for homegrown talent, and also for the professionalism and the experience that he brings. Won everything with Manchester United there is to win so far, and he's just a professional. He's an all-round professional, a leader, and that's what you need. Sometimes in the dressing room, you need older players with that experience, that know the club, that have respect from everybody, because everyone speaks so highly of Johnny Evans. People speak highly of Bruno Fernandes, etc. But last season, everyone spoke very, very highly about Johnny Evans. And when I did my keep or sell video months back, like I think it was like 5 months ago, I did a video about keep or sell. I said keep this guy. I said keep Johnny Evans on a 1-year extension for his professionalism, for his experience, and you just need that dad. You need a dad of a dressing room. That is the most important thing. But that is it, everyone. Just in case you missed it, let's quickly just revisit this. JADON Sancho back in the team. Not only back in the team, but also he is back as a first team player, training with Manchester United for the first time in nearly 9 months since he was dumped from the island, if you want to say that. He was dumped from the island. It's also reported that he and Erik ten Hag have agreed to sweep everything under the rug, to turn a new chapter, and he is officially now back in the first team. He's officially back training with them, and he is officially back and available for selection. That is huge, huge news. Not because Team Sancho won or Team Ten Hag won, but because this drama can finally come to an end, and Manchester United have the right people in place to make these decisions and to kind of mediate between between the manager and the player. Both of them clearly had to stand down on the situation and their stance on the situation, which I'm totally all for that. But for me, this is completely a positive. There's no way, guys, anyone looks at this and we think negatively of this. Please, let's not do that. I don't want to hear like, oh, Sancho won or Ten Hag won or all of that kind of stuff. Let's just look at this positively. The right decision has been made. Manchester United have the right people in place to mediate between all of them. None of this Ten Hag won, Sancho won, all of this stuff. I'm sure Ten Hag probably apologized, and I'm sure JADON Sancho probably apologized. But grown people can act like grown people for once in our lives. I always had that idea or the notion that the situation blew up way too much. JADON Sancho should have never been a kind of what's the word? I don't want to say dumped from the first team, but he should never have been treated in the way that he was when he was not only not allowed to first train with the first team. Being suspended from training is one thing, but being completely exiled from Carrington, from the canteen, from the dressing room, from everywhere, from having any sort of relationship and communication with your own teammates on Carrington, being forced to train with the academy team, only being able to go and watch the under 18s and the under 16s, not being able to go and watch the first team. That should have never happened. It should have been solved between him and Erik ten Hag. But JADON Sancho, please don't let us down. Please, I just want to see if he stays for this season. If JADON Sancho stays for the season and JADON Sancho is getting a fair shot, right hand side, left hand side, JADON, please don't let us down. Just give 100%, bro. I don't care I don't care if you score, I don't care if you assist. I just want you to give 100% regularly, because this is a third, bro. You're like JADON Sancho is a cat at this point. He's got 9 lives at Manchester United. But please, JADON Sancho and Erik ten Hag. I don't want Erik ten Hag to ever fall out with a player in the manner that he did with JADON Sancho, in the manner that he did with Cristiano Ronaldo. And also, can I say, guys, I think with Ineos here, I think all of that will never happen again, because they call the shots. They have the people in place to make the decisions. And I think the relationships I think the involvement of the manager when it comes to decision making is not going to be as much as it was last year. Also, almost no doubt Erik ten Hag got his apology. Maybe Sancho is not going anywhere now. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't care who apologized, guys, honestly, because we're adults. We are adults. Adults apologize all the time. Only kids refuse to apologize. I don't care about that. What I care about now is the next steps. He's back in training. Okay, cool. He's back in the first team. Okay, cool. He's available for selection in preseason. Okay, cool. Is he going to be sold? Is he going to be kept? If he's kept, what's the plan? Is he going to be starting regularly? What's going to be the options? You know, who are United going to sell from the wingers if Jadon Sancho is not being sold? Because we need to sell a winger. So who are they going to sell? I just want to see 100%. And that's applicable to everybody in this picture right now. Mason Mount, Amad Diallo, Jadon Sancho, everyone else in the training, everyone else yet to join Manchester United this season. I just want 100% throughout the entire season. That's it. That's all I want. I don't want to see Sancho fall out with Erik ten Hag again. I don't want to see Erik ten Hag fall out with any other player again. And I just want like a nice season. Is that too much to ask, guys? Sancho needs to put 100% in. I swear, if he comes on at right back, he better play his heart out. He better, bro. He better. Sancho better put in 100% because this was such a draining, non-sequitur. 100%. It was such a pointless situation. Like, honestly, it was such a pointless, childish situation where both people felt they were right and both people were being stubborn. Like, that's annoying. If we get Sancho that played for Dortmund and got them to Champions League final, we got a very good player. No more drama. You lot are all saying Anthony must go. Anthony, sell Palestri and Anthony. That's probably from Palestri and Anthony is probably the price they would have got for Jadon Sancho. Most likely, I think that's the price that they would have got for Jadon Sancho. But big up to everyone. Listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Let's see how many likes we're on. Have we hit 100? Yes, we hit 100. Big up to everyone. Listen, you lot know what it is. Friday evening vibes. Always here to bring you lot the content. Listen, we're not that far off from 5K, so make sure you subscribe if you are new here. Follow me on all platforms below, guys. Look, right there, that's the name to all my other socials. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I post regular content there. I'm trying to post consistently on TikTok and as well as on YouTube Shorts. And I'm trying to post consistently here on the channel and do consistent streams. You guys know I'm trying to be a woman of my word. If you want to join the Minions gang, you can. It's the membership club. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Of course, you get to support the growth of the channel as well. The channel is growing so much and it's thanks to you guys. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your thoughts, with your questions, or just to show some appreciation to the channel. Listen, we will be live. I need to stop saying we because it's not we. I'm only one person. I will be live later on at 8 p.m. UK time, episode 2 of Elden Ring. I'm dreading it. I'm actually dreading it. But we're gonna do it. I've been saying I'm gonna do it, so I'm gonna be consistent, man. Listen, be sure to hit the like button, guys, if you are watching this back, and be sure to subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow, early one. We're gonna have an 11 a.m. show, an early one tomorrow. So do not miss it. And then we'll have another one later on in the evening. Then we're back on Sunday as well. So turn on your post notifications so when I go live, you lot will get notified. Listen, I'm out. Have a great Friday. I hope to see you lot on the next stream. Peace.